The art of negotiation. What executives must master to lead, influence, and win whenever negotiating is that most people idea of how they get better or do better is that executives need to remember the level that they're on. It's a form of leadership in action. Every negotiation communicates a way of saying who you are, what you value, and how power is wielded in your organization. At the Center for Corporate Learning Solutions, we engage leaders in a variety of sectors. And one thing is certain: good negotiating executives do more than close deals. They build trust, they shape culture, and they secure long term advantages. So, at this point, I want to talk to you about the art of negotiation as a practice, not a theory, and what gets done most efficiently when the stakes are high. So, first, we need to reframe negotiating from winning to leading whenever you're at the executive level. When I was a younger leader, I understood negotiation to be preparation, leverage, and persuasion. And those things count, but I discovered something crucial. The most effective negotiations don't begin with what you want. They begin with the other side of experiences, the problem. Research repeatedly finds that successful negotiators are what people say are the people that say what they want. They position themselves um, to show what they want in the best interest of everyone who is speaking. So executives that are bypassing this step frequently win um, in one-on-one conversations, but when negotiating, they may not win. Um, So, questions that you have to ask yourself: what problem are we both solving? Simply posing that question transforms negotiation from hostile to strategic. So, the first technique, we have to know that preparation is about perspective, not data. Executives have good preparation, market data, benchmarks, financial models, but the overlooked step in the preparation process is perspective mapping prior to any major negotiation. What pressure does this party face, and what would it take for them to succeed? Which of these constraints can they not state out loud? And one of my best negotiations wasn't based on numbers at all. It depended on the idea that other executives wanted to have some political cover within their own group. And once that was discussed, an agreement was soon apparent. The executives who negotiate to the highest level are trained not only for what they are about to say, but for the way the other side needs to feel to say yes. And so here's a second method. Silence is a skill of leadership. One of the most effective negotiation tools I've ever learned didn't come from reading a book. It became an experience. Silence. Silence seems uncomfortable, so many leaders rush to fill it. But in negotiation, silence opens up space. It's an opportunity for thought, recalibration, and sometimes concession. I've witnessed negotiations turn simply because a leader stopped instead of responding. That pause sends confidence. It sends the message that you're not desperate, and desperation is costly at the executive level. So at CCLS, we train leaders to consciously silence ourselves. After making a proposal, after hearing resistance, after a difficult question, silence often invites honesty. And that is where progress starts, um, honestly. And a third technique is divide ego from the outcome. This may be the most difficult part for all leaders at the executive level, and sometimes it feels personal. Your credibility, authority, and competence may seem bound up in the result, but ego driven negotiation limits choices and increases the chances of conflict. The best negotiators I've worked with are intensely confident and very flexible. They understand that you can't stand by your values while being flexible. You can stand by your values by being flexible on your methods. So, because at the executive level, the point isn't merely agreement, the aim is alignment. Alignment, influence, and long term success. And that's the real craft of negotiation.